does. It's not nice to fool with Mother Nature. These drivers do it all the time. Sometimes they win. Sometimes they lose.
Still sore. I got bruises everywhere.
Missing the turn, man. Over to the right.
It's the Key West Superboat World Championship from Key West, Florida.
Welcome to the 1996 Key West World Championships for offshore racers. Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Hendrick along with Dick Crippen. We have 105 boats to race here today in 8 different classes. It's windy, it's rough. They're going to have a tough time negotiating this course. Round 1 action, not as bad, but there was a lot of action. For that, let's go to Dick.
First of all, let's explain that the Superboat World Championship is a combination of 2 races. The points total up for the win. In race number 1, enough respect right here, was the winner in the Super Catamaran. Second place in the Super Cat was the Alcone Motorsports. First place in the Super V, La Grande Argentina. Daniel Scioli driving that boat. First place in the Super Limited was Nomad. 5th place in the Pro 1 was the Restore Marine Products boat, going for its 4th consecutive World Championship. Here are the results and the leaders after round 1. La Grande Argentina in the Superboat V. In the Superboat Cat, Enough Respect is the leader, followed closely by Alcone Motorsports. Super Limited results show Nomad in the lead, followed by Ohio Steel. In Pro 1, it's Ocean Outboard, followed by Pennzoil and High Risk.
All right, Dick, thank you very much. And you know that celebrities always show up for the World Championships here at Key West. Meet Stan Lane, a wrestler, and he's a ring broadcaster in the field of wrestling. Stan, this is a great event.
Oh, it certainly is, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here in Key West. As you can see, the wind is really blowing. I want to thank ESPN. I want to thank Key West, especially John Carbonell, the entire SBI family. Brother, I have wrestled all over the world. I've been in some reckless, wild matches, but if you look behind me and check out this water, it is totally awesome. We're talking big boats, big horsepower, big air, and big water. And speaking of big, I want to bring in a friend of mine right now, professional wrestler, the IWA heavyweight champion, Big Vladimir Koloff. Vladimir, you face some big guys, but brother, this is just unbelievable.
I've never seen water like this, ladies and gentlemen. Only time I've ever seen anything as big as this is in the ring. But I'm telling you, SBI today at the World Championships here in Key West, where the wind is blowing my hair off, we're going to be going at it today, one-on-one, mano-a-mano. SBI and all the big boats are here in Key West.
Well, I'm being told they're ready for us to get on that big pace boat. So let me tell you something. Don't you dare make a move. We're talking hot action.
And he is right, and he's going to feel it right away, too, because they're going out on the pace boat, Jim.
It'll be smooth for the start in the harbor, but look for big rollers out like checkpoint number 1. It'll be 6 times around a 15-mile course here at Key West.
Tell me when he dumps the flag down. All right, I'll tell you. Still yellow. There it is, green. Is that the turnboat right out there? Yep.
You were aboard Jaws as they dropped the green flag for the start of the Superboats here in Key West. Now the Superboats are going to go 6 laps around. They've lengthened the course by 5 miles. They're trying to limit the amount of times they hit the big waves at checkpoint number 1. Art Gerard is aboard the Sloppy Joes along with Mike Gerard. It's a father and son team, and right now they are still in the smooth water, as is Daniel Scioli and Fabio Buzzi in La Grande Argentina.
Cat in the act, and of course that is a catamaran, and you can see the water's chopping up. Here's the Deep V, Hall of the Cigarette Lady, Anna Delva from California, the only lady driver in today's World Championships.
That boat is already taking the waves head on out there and bouncing a little bit. You can see the difference in the ride of the catamarans as the green flag drops for the Super Limited. Good competition in our field today. Look at that shot. The water just getting enough to get good lift on the boats, but they're going to have to be careful coming against the wind because that lift of the waves will add to it. Look at that boat tiptoe back and forth on those catamarans. Wow.
Now the green flag will fall for the modifieds and the pro stock, and they'll go 3 times around the 15-mile course for a total of 45 miles on this storm-shortened course here today in Key West.
And Jim, we tell everybody we're getting into the smaller boats. Alcone Motorsports leading the pack as they head down to that first checkpoint. We'll be back in a moment. Come as you are. By Restore, it works. And by Baja Marine Corporation, speed changes you. Back on the course, approaching checkpoint number 2. This is Alcone Motorsports, driven by Matt Alcone and navigated and throttled by Jerry Gilbreth. And there you can see as they approach the checkpoint, the distance between their boat and the second place boat. Enough respect, Jim Robinson and Bobby Moore out of Miami, Florida.
Jim Robinson is a driver of record, but he decided not to go in the cockpit today. And Billy Moore, Bobby's son, is at the wheel.
Now those 2 boats are catamarans. This is the first place boat in the Deep V's, and it's the boat out of Argentina, La Grande, Argentina. We introduced you to the driver, Daniel Scioli, and the navigator throttleman, Fabio Buzzi, who also built the boat. And there you see the second place boat driven by Billy Moore, and his dad is on the throttles, and he is one of the top throttlemen in the business. A longtime veteran of offshore racing.
As we look at Alcone with 2 engines, chased by a 4-engine boat, Alcone currently first in the Super Cat.
This particular event is a very unusual, combining several sanctioning bodies together and bringing a tremendous group of boats, over 100 of them, in 8 different classes out here today. Leading the pack is the Alcone Motorsports. The guy that kind of pulled everything together is John Carbonell, and Jim is with him. Jim?
Well, Dick, we're down here with the president of Superboat International, John Carbonell. And John, it started here a few months ago. It ends here, but under real treacherous conditions.
Yeah, the seas have kicked up quite a bit. We have gusts up to 30 miles an hour. Of course, small craft warnings are out, but Key West is one of the unique situations that we can switch the course around to try and take advantage of the island and still have a race, and that's what we're doing right now. We're going to what we call our B course, which actually runs along the south side of the island and still comes into the harbor, but it gives us a little break for the boat so that they don't keep pounding in the seas that our normal course would be. Right now the seas are 6 to 8 foot.
As John was talking, you could see in the corner the battle that has come up between Enough Respect and Alcone Motorsports. Enough Respect was way back going into checkpoint number 2, but now he has evened it up on the inside of the Alcone Motorsports boat. Great competition, and they are side by side as they continue to take their checkpoints. Remember, they're going to go a total of 6 laps on an elongated course. Bobby Moore in the boat on the left, a veteran throttleman. Jim talked to him about racing in Key West.
Well, it's a big race. We were lucky enough to win Wednesday. The boat ran really well, and Alcone was our main competitor Wednesday. And today, I'm sure they're going to be tough to beat. We're going to run hard, and I kind of play a little cat and mouse and don't push any harder than I have to push.
Pushing just hard enough now to be in the lead over the Alcone Motorsports. And Jim, I go back to again the shot we had where he was a good 10 to 12 boat lengths back as they hit checkpoint number 2. Now he's in the lead.
And he's showing him the short way around the course as we look at the overall 3rd place, but first in Deep V class, and that's La Grande, Argentina. Fabio Buzzi is on the throttles, looking at the leader in the P class, Fit America, at this point.
Ed Thornton is the driver of that boat with Bruce Grout of Boca Raton. We'll be back with more racing from Key West in a moment. Back in along with Jim Hendrick as we look at Enough Respect, the boat that has taken over the overall lead here in Key West. Second place is the Alcone Motorsports, followed by La Grande, Argentina. There's the second place boat in the catamaran class, and second place overall, Alcone Motorsports. You might wonder about the fuel that's used for these big engines. Jim found out about it.
You're looking at special built Stirling engines, 1,250 horsepower each. These two engines power the Alcone Motorsports, driven by Matt Alcone. Matt, they usually say, how many miles am I going to get to a gallon? In your case, it's how many gallons am I going to do to the mile?
Yeah, Jim, that's right. I wish these boats would do miles per gallon, but they just won't. It's gallons per mile. And with the kind of engines we have in there that put off about 1,200 horsepower each, you get about 1 mile per gallon. So with a 2-engine boat like we have, that's 2 gallons per mile.
Now your competition, with enough respect, they have twice the horsepower, carry twice the fuel. Is that an advantage for them or a disadvantage?
Well, in all motorsports, horsepower is an advantage, and it's no different than offshore. But to carry that much horsepower, they need to carry more fuel, too. So at the beginning of the race, they're really heavy, and they have a little bit of an advantage. But throughout the race, when they're burning off 4 gallons per mile, at the end of the race, they've dropped down another 4,000 pounds, and they've got an awful good horsepower to weight ratio, and it's going to be tough.
Well, it's true. We do burn more fuel per race than the Alcone boat would with 4 engines. Probably not twice as much. They've got a lot of horsepower in 2 engines. Big cubic inches, big blowers. They're making probably 1,300 horsepower out of 2 engines. So the weight with the boat and the 2 engines versus 4 engines comes into play in that part. In rough water, I think we do better. Top speed, we probably got a little on them, but it's still competitive. To keep 4 engines running is a chore. That's a chore in itself.
Now you talk about fuel, Jim, and you have to talk about this boat because this is a diesel-powered boat.
La Grande Argentina, and you know that Daniel Scioli and Fabio Buzzi are going for their 2nd World Championship of this race. They won in the B class in La Grande Argentina Junior. They're now trying to win their 2nd championship today as we look at our leader. Enough respect.
And it's going through my mind after hearing that interview with Matt Alcone. What are they doing now? Are they trying to get enough distance between themselves and the second place boat, Alcone Motorsports, right there on the screen, because of that weight differential that the other boat will start picking up on them as they go?
Here is Leif Ferrone, the driver of Nomad, and his crew doing very well, and they're leading in class here on Key West.
So far, the water has been very cooperative. There's only a couple of places on the course that really rough up bad. The winds, though, they have to be a little bit concerned about them. When they're with the wind, there's no problem. But when they're against the wind actually gets underneath and between those 2 hulls, and it becomes like an airplane wing, so they've got to really be paying attention.
Sloppy Joes, the Gerards, father and son, as they come back into the harbor. 3 fine groups, Superboat International, APBA, and U.S. Offshore, all combining for 105 boats in 8 classes here today. John Carbonell, who puts it all together, lives in Key West. He's kind of the conch king here. He knows these waters, and of course, he knows powerboat racing.
As you saw La Grande Argentina go by some of the crowd out at the pier house, you can see a tremendous crowd has gathered all along the shoreline to root these boats on. And we saw Sloppy Joe's earlier, a hometown boat. You can bet there's a lot of boats going for that one. Well, we have a lot more racing to go. We'll be back to Key West in just a...
Along with this gentleman, who I know very well, Don Jones, who is now the vice president of APBA, and he's the offshore commissioner. Don, this is one big event.
No question about it. It's the world's largest offshore event. We're all glad to get together with each of the sanctioning bodies to bring this to the spectators and fans of offshore throughout the world.
And it is certainly a sight to behold. Here is La Grande Argentina, driven by Daniel Scioli, holding first in the deep V's, 3rd overall. Daniel Scioli, of course, as we told you, driving a diesel-powered boat. Jim talked with Daniel before he got aboard the La Grande Argentina to find out a little bit about the strategy he was going to use in a course he's very familiar with here in Key West, Florida.
Try to push hard like always. We try to finish the race, looking for the championship, the Superboat B, for the points that we have already. Because this is our main objective, to try to keep that title after we did a very good season here in America. I'm looking forward to test very hard the small boat, because with that boat I will be returning back to race in Argentina again from December on. in the same race where I have the accident 7 years ago. So for me, it's a big motivation that.
We're going to jump back to a race earlier today. This is the B-class race. Now, that looks like the big Le Grand Argentina. In fact, it is the baby Le Grand Argentina leading that race. He goes on to win. It's his second year in a row to win the World Championship in the B-class. It's a little bit different on the paint job, but this boat is about 32 feet long as compared to the big boat that Daniel is driving at the moment, which is 52 feet. He is having quite a day out here, to put it mildly. But to look at some of the other action from that race, a couple of the other boats, one of them that gave a little bit of a problem to Danielle throughout the entire race. You can see it on the outside of him there is Obsession. That's a fine running boat by Harry Turner out of East Falmouth, Massachusetts. The navigators Robert Bowman and Michael Fiore out of Holbrook, New York. There you see Mike Hoffman, driver of the Rain-X Express. This is one of several Rain-X Express boats that are running in this race. This is the B boat in the Sportsman B class. We also have another Rain-X Express that you'll see momentarily right there, as a matter of fact. That's a really unique design boat, Ray Delaney, and that is really a V hull. You don't have any misconceptions about that boat at all. You can see that these smaller boats really get thrown around a bit in this water as it starts to roughen up around checkpoint number 1. The Texaco Haviland boat 3, driven by Robert McElhenney. He's getting himself a pretty good ride. That's one of the catamaran hulls, as is the Baby Kamikaze. Good-looking boat of Juan Santiago. Always good competition in the smaller boats, and they really have to fight for whatever position they have. This is the Conch Attack. Phil Semmel, you don't have to have any doubts about the fact that he's got a rather large contingent of fans here in the Conch Republic rooting for him. And look at the competition that they have well into the race. Boats are side by side, several classes mixing it up a little bit. Paul Nemskarf in the boat called Nemskarf. Back to the action today in this World Championship. That was a race that was held earlier in the day. Riveted still riding fine.
Riveted is in the super limited class. As we look at Sloppy Joe's battling up there. He's 4th place, currently trying to get the 3rd, and is going for Le Grand Argentina. But one, of course, is the cat, the Sloppy Joe's. The deep V, that is Danielle Scioli on the top of your screen.
And again, we re-emphasize this one, this time, is the big Le Grand Argentina at 52 feet.
And he talked about his accident 7 years ago. That took his right arm. He only has a left arm, and that's the way he's steering, one-handed. A lot of strength in Danielle Scioli's left arm.
And they actually fashioned a steering wheel for him that is specially designed for him to handle that boat, and he does a great job. We're looking at some of the good conditions out here and how those boats are handling around the checkpoints. As you can see, when they make those turns down there, the water is actually very, very good for them. Sloppy Joe's continues to get a very, very pleasant ride, and it looks like he's evened up now with Le Grand Argentina, battling in there for 3rd place overall.
You can see the chop of the water out on the ocean side. Then they come back down the shoreline before they turn right and come back into the harbor to complete a 15-mile lap.
Now, when they go into the turn, Daniel Scioli will tend to stay a little bit further out, trying to keep his speed up because of the acceleration factor in the diesel engines. It takes him a little bit longer to accelerate. He has plenty of power, and he certainly can ride with any of the boats up front, but he has to keep his speed up. He doesn't want to accelerate too many times on the course. He wants to keep his speed as constant as he can.
Our helicopter carrying our cameraman is down very, very low and having trouble keeping up with the boat, so the speed is pretty good, Dick.
Yeah, that's what's pretty amazing when you watch these boats out there. You don't realize, as big as they are, how fast they're going. This particular shot here of Sloppy Joe's as he is still battling Scioli, who now is flying out of the water on the out. Oh, talk about Scioli flying. How about Sloppy Joe's? They hit into those waves, and you can see he got off it just a bit, and now Le Grand Argentina is again taking 3rd in the overall. So that's quite a little battle going on there. They are running in separate classes, but there are overall awards. So in this particular case, you're looking at the leader in the Deep V Superboat class.
They're both running around 103 miles an hour on this particular lane. Oh, look at this. Alcone looks like he has a problem. Maybe one of his 2 engines.
We don't know. We'll try to get word from the radio to see if we can find out what's happened to Alcone Motorsports, riding up in 2nd position. doing a good job on it, but now sitting dead in the water, and they have opened the hatches on their cockpits. Now they have an opportunity where they can get back, and they may try to work on the engine and find out what the problem is.
Gary Gilbreth and Matt Alcone teaming up. He's going to open up that port side hatch and take a look at what they might be the problem. And enough respect now, he'll have things pretty much his own way as we look at heavy metal.
Anthony Izzo, driver of Heavy Metal, a beautiful yellow boat. And look at how that water glistens off of the Heavy Metal sign on the side of it. Lots of action to go. We're in Key West, Florida for the Key West Superboat World Championship. We'll be back with more racing in just a moment. In the act second, and Robert C. Morgan, they are riding in third place. The leader in that class is Enough Respect.
And Sloppy Joe's currently is in second place, and the Cat in the act overall third.
Boy, yeah, he's getting some very good water out there. We saw some of the catamarans jumping around a little bit earlier, but on this particular side of the course, he's getting good water. And there you see Heavy Metal on the outside of him, and he also has very good water.
That's Joey Prescia on the throttles, and he's been around this course a few times.
Boy, he sure has, in a lot of different boats, too. And he's one of the top drivers out there and has been consistent through the years. Right now, he has taken the advantage over Cat in the act second. And as we look down, we have another catamaran coming up on us here. This is one of the Pro 1 boats. High Risk, Rick Felsen. There's another veteran of the wars.
Chip Fent, of course, is the throttle man in that boat, and he was the throttle man for a world championship a couple years ago in the Restore boat.
Here's the leader in the catamaran class and overall in our field of well over 100 boats. Enough Respect. Now, Dennis Kaiser in Jaws, apparently some sort of a problem. He lost power as he came around the turn. Power is not a problem for this boat. He's got plenty of it, and it's very consistent. That, of course, was La Grande Argentina. This is Fit America. Ed Thornton, the driver on that boat. And there you see Jaws is back up. Now, it doesn't look like he's at 100% power, but the boat is back up to about 85–90% of power, so he's still very competitive in this race.
Danielle Scioli leading in the super deep V's, being chased by the driver of Cigarette Lady from California, Anna Delva. You see, she has a driver, a throttle man, and a navigator in the deep V hull.
Yes, I have bruised ribs today. Very rough waters are going to be today, but I'm very excited to go out there and beat a boat named La Grande Argentina.
You think you can do that in this water?
I think my boat is better in rough water than his boat, and I'm out to prove it today.
Anna Dalva, very dedicated driver and a very strong driver. Right now, Cigarette Lady is riding third in the deep V's. La Grande Argentina is in the lead.
Looking at Sloppy Joe's, the catamaran coming in toward the harbor, and our deep V entry from Argentina, La Grande Argentina. And, of course, he's riding a very consistent race here today, Dick.
Yes, he certainly is. And Sloppy Joe's took a little bit of a bounce as they came into the harbor area there, but they're doing great. They're holding on to that boat. Maybe they've been a little bit inspired. Look at the crowd on the ship, on the shore, on the pier, all lining the shoreline here in Key West, and all of them, I'm sure, at least a big majority of them, rooting for a hometown boat. Great aerial shot as they go down into the harbor and make the turn. La Grande Argentina is very much in it, as you can see, riding in third. There's Art Gerard and Mike Gerard riding along in the Sloppy Joe's. They're holding a very solid second place out there. Heavy Metal, another boat that we talked about earlier, continues to chip away at the field. It seems impossible when they're stretched out like they are that they could do that. Now, here's the boat that is riding second place in the deep V's for the superboats, Casino Trivoli. And this boat has always been a strong competitor, but right behind him is Cigarette Lady. Anna Dalva will try to move it up.
American Express riding first in the pro class, and Bill Ford is the throttle man. We ask him about strategy.
Well, Jim, we on the first round of competition, our strategy was just to hang back and hang back and hang back, and about lap 5 let it go, and a couple other boats were basically on the same thinking that we were doing, and We were coming out of the harbor, trimmed out. My driver said, I can't steer the boat. I can't steer the boat. Next thing I know, he's got the steering wheel in his hand, and we were pretty much done for the day.
What's the strategy today? Hang back or go for it?
Well, I think we're definitely going to go for it. We have nothing to lose now, and you know, I have a new sponsor, and I want to be up front for them and get ready for next year.
Boy, can you imagine the steering wheel in his hand? Let's listen for a moment.
Over to the right. There's restore. We're right there. Turn, turn, turn. Turn, turn, turn. All right, we're still not. Into the inside, into the inside.
I'll tell you, that is an exciting shot to see. All those boats out there, you see the problem the driver has trying to avoid all of those wake actions out there. But that was a great shot from on board the American Express.
We're looking at Casino Trivoli, currently in second place in class. And back to Cat in the Act. And Cat in the Act is starting to move up now and is going to challenge for second place. Alcone Motorsports had a problem, and they, I understand, are heading back toward the pit area as we speak.
All of these boats getting treated rather fairly here in Key West. The water has been very good, except down by checkpoint number 1. There are a couple of little surprises here and there, but not too many.
Well, Dick, we're about halfway through the Key West World Championships, and there is our leaderboard, the way they're running currently. Let's take a little laid-back view of Key West.
Let Baja Speed change you. Call 419-562.
Key West, Florida. Here's the way the boats are stacking up after 4 of 6 laps. Just 30 miles more to go of the pounding surf, and it has been pounding down by checkpoint number 1. No problem at all to this boat, though, who's leading in the pack all the way. Enough respect.
Bobby Moore, the throttle man, his son Billy, in place of Jim Robinson, who decided to let Bill take the seat today, and they're heading for a world championship. We're looking at Contempt in the modified class. Doug Lewis is on the throttles there, and they're getting a pretty good ride, Dick.
They certainly are. They're out of Brick, New Jersey. Whoa, a little bit of a high fly there to give you a wave. Those boats really handle the rough water beautifully. The Catamarans do a great job on it. Now here we see Alcone Motorsports. They're obviously headed back into the pits with that canopy open. Get some air in there, I guess, but they apparently lost an engine on the course. That's unofficial. We have not gotten the official word from the radio yet, but they are headed back in. Enough power to at least get back there. Look at the crowd off to the right of your screen and on the boats that are in harbor down there. Those fans getting a little something extra for their tour on the cruise ships.
I noticed only the right engine was running on the Alcone as he came into the port. His left engine was not running at all, so that's the problem.
Dennis Kaiser aboard Jaws right there had some problems earlier, as you'll remember, but that's not the first of the problems he's had this week racing. Earlier, when they ran round 1 earlier in the week, he had some sort of a problem. Jim asked him about it.
Well, we were doing all right, but we had an ignition problem, which basically limited our RPMs on one of the motors. So we were basically running on 1.5 motors in Wednesday's race, and we had the worst possible combination of propellers and rudders on the boat for that race. So we were having trouble in the turns. down the straightaways we were doing fine. We would pass the Argentina boat, and then he'd get us in the turn. So it was a real battle, and it was definitely the roughest race we've ever raced in. I mean, I'm still sore. I got bruises everywhere.
And speaking of the Argentina boat, they are still trying to catch that boat today. Now, we're not clear whether they're up to full power because they did have a problem when they went through the turn earlier. And there you see La Grande Argentina, the boat they are trying to catch, still very firm as first place in the V's. Still riding in third place in the Super V's is the Cigarette Lady, Ana Dalva. And they're waving a little bit to the crowds out there. They're always welcoming the new fans aboard.
Ana Dalva has fun. She really enjoys running. She says, well, if I don't win, at least I've given it my all, and I just love pounding on waves in my Deep V Cigarette Lady.
Interesting, too, that Ana and her crew stand up in that boat so they can cushion the shocks of hitting the various waves with their knees and their legs. The boat they're trying to catch, La Grande Argentina, is one of the boats where they sit down. Both Daniel Scioli and Fabio Buzzi are seated in that boat. This is a great race site. The fans really get to see the boats a lot of times. And as you look at Jaws going by here with the Ohio Steel in front. Now, the Ohio Steel, of course, is super limited. Look along the shoreline and along the cruise boat decks as we pass in the helicopter. There is a tremendous crowd on hand for this event today. And I'll tell you, they are really, really enjoying it. I think the folks aboard the cruise ships got a little bit of a surprise out there. There's a good battle between Nomad and Restore. They're not the same class, but it looks good.
Restore is running second in the pro stock, and here is the M22 JH Electric. They're not going too fast now. They seem to be stern heavy.
Yeah, they look like they're digging way down in the water with the propeller, throwing much too much of a rooster tail out there, but they're still hanging in. They apparently have enough to try to complete this race. They're relaxing it a little bit, not getting bounced around too much, but as we see the rear of the boat, you can see that rooster tail shoot right up on it.
Admiral Casino Travoli, currently riding in second place in class in the Deep V Superboats. You can see that helicopter trying to keep up with him. Now, a helicopter will do about 110 mile an hour in a Jet Bell Ranger like that one. So you can see that he's doing probably about 110 mile an hour in the straightaway right now.
Yeah, they have a little bit of trouble on some of the fast boats hanging with them all the time. There's some beautiful, beautiful shots. You know, offshore racing has a lot of things to offer along with it. Some great scenic views of the areas they're racing in this case, Key West, Florida.
We're getting down close to the checker flag time as we look at our leaderboard. We'll be back at Key West in just a moment.
Hey, Dad, can you pitch to me?
I'm kind of busy right now. How about later?
Okay.
Now have hours of fun and enjoyment with the new Batter Up batting tee from American Health Equipment. Batter Up can be set up quickly and easily, whether outside or indoors. Not only is Batter Up fun, it's also a great way to develop hand-eye coordination. No more chasing after balls. Spend more time improving batting skills. Practice hitting safely for hours. Batter Up is constructed of durable, high-impact plastic and steel that will last and last. To order your Batter Up, just call 1-800-400-1080. Batter Up provides hours of fun, improves batting skills, is built to last, and the whole team can use it. Just dial 1-800-400-1080 and be the first on your block to order Batter Up. Call 1-800-400-1080 to order your Batter Up for only $69.95. Have credit card handy. Call 1-800-400-1080 today.
What you do is take the body out and the head's gonna fall. You gotta rip. You gotta dig.
Tommy Hearns battles Carl Willis Friday at 7:30, only on ESPN2.
Back in Key West, Florida, Alcone Motorsports cooperated with us earlier in the week for a rescue demonstration. Dr. Larry Lottenberg explained it to Jim Hendrick.
Well, in addition to the people we have in the water, we have 6 Angels and 2 helicopters that are constantly circling the course. They're directed by our Medical and Safety Director, David DiPetrillo, who is Angel 1. He is responsible for directing the deployment of all the divers from the helicopters and all the medical boats. Angel 1 will determine whether or not there's an indication for dropping divers. Medical boats will immediately attend to the area of the accident and determine whether the individuals are injured. By hand signals, all of the drivers and navigators have been told to give us a hand signal whether they're okay or not. If we don't have the okay, we will deploy divers both in the water and from the air to go and rescue these individuals and bring them off of the boats and extricate them from the boats and bring them to the medical boats. Once they're loaded on our medical transport boat, myself, my other trauma surgeon, and the nurses take over in their care, providing them immediate on-site care, which is the same sort of care that would be provided to any person who's in a severe accident on land.
And I can tell you that all the drivers and crew members appreciate the rescue squad. They're the standings right now. At this point in the race, as we look at our leader, enough respect. He's had a great run out here today. He was in a battle early on with Alcone Motorsports, but unfortunately, Matt Alcone and his boat went out to the pit area. So the leader overall in this race of over 100 boats is Enough Respect. And right behind him in 3rd place is La Grande Argentina. That's in the overall because, as we explained earlier, that is a deep V, and he's leading in the Super Vs. Rick Felson and Chip Fent were aboard the High Risk. Listen to the sounds as these 2 gentlemen pilot that boat down one of the long stretches on this Key West course. Now, navigation is so important to these boats. As you can see, that's a lot of open water out there. You really have to be tuned in to what's going to be coming up next and what you're looking for. Let's listen on board for just a few moments.
This is going to be a real mess going in here.
Well, it was a real mess for them the other day. They had a navigational problem in round 1.
Charlie's to your left. Be aware.
Jim Hendrick found out about that problem in round 1.
Going from 3rd to 5th in round 1 because of missing a checkpoint really negates your chance of a 3rd World Championship.
Jim, I'm really sorry we just woke up to find out about that. I know Rick Felson and myself are very disappointed, but we're probably going to have to go out there and do our best, and hopefully through attrition, the other boats that are out there, maybe we'll fall out of the race. I got to run very hard, but this is a good old boat, and we're going to keep it together and hopefully bring home another checkered flag. We're going to do the best we can.
Back to the race and back on board High Risk.
I'm not going inside him.
You can hear the decisions that are being made. Probably not a lot of decisions have to be made by Enough Respect. They've been out front since Alcone Motorsports went out of it. They have been unchallenged from that point on. A good day for racing as far as they're concerned. They are now looking at the home stretch, so they'll be coming in and looking for the checkered flag very shortly and look for that win and that championship.
But I have to give Enough Respect some respect because when they were battling Alcone, they did catch him and pass him and were leading when Alcone broke.
They certainly did. Here's your boat riding in 3rd place overall and 1st place in the Super V division. That's the La Grande Argentina boat driven by Daniel Scioli. Very consistent boat. All year long, that boat has been extremely consistent.
Here's first Super Limited. That's the Nomad. We're in the US 1 as we go back now. And a good aerial shot. Look at them go right by those cruise ships who are about to depart, and those people on the cruise ships have got a 50-yard line seat.
They certainly do, unexpectedly too, I'm sure, at least until they got on board the boat and found out they were going to be seeing some offshore racing in Key West. Cigarette Lady still riding 3rd in the Deep V section of our racing for the super boats. Trying to, of course, catch that boat right there, and one boat in between. Sloppy Joe's is still hanging in there.
You know, you talk about Superboat International, what a season they've had. Great race in New York, great race in the Bahamas, great race here in Key West. They're going to Argentina. This sport, SBI style, is really growing.
No question about it, and the fans are getting more and more into it because one of the things they've tried to do is to bring it back into the fans, not just send them out and 2 hours later welcome them back. Some great racing, and we've got the final lap to go here in Key West. Back in a moment.
Hi, I'm Buddy Parrott. You may not know it, but radiators can build up rust and sludge that will cause leaks and cooling system failure. So, if you don't want to end up like this fella, then use Restorer's Radiator Restorer, Sealer, Conditioner, and stop leaks fast. Radiator Restorer keeps radiators clean. It's environmentally safe and works with regular antifreeze. Don't be left behind. With Radiator Restorer, you'll stay on the road. Stop leaks in seconds with Radiator Restorer.
You want to ride. You want to tone. To shape. To condition. You want the best. Cardio-Glide by Westlaw.
Rated by Consumer Digest as a best buy.
NCAA basketball on ESPN2.
It's Key West, Florida. It's the Key West Superboat World Championship, and it is a great day for racing as these boats continue. They are now coming into the final lap. La Grande Argentina still leading in the deep V's for the Superboats. This boat riding in third place, Ana Dalva, aboard Cigarette Lady again in the Super V's.
As we look at heavy metal, everybody's in their last lap. Let's give congratulations to In Contempt, the winner of the World Championships here at Key West in the modified class. Also to American Express, winner in Pro 1. And they are going to be the world champions.
And we might explain, Jim, they didn't go as many laps as the Superboats did. Again, we tell everyone that the Superboats were going 6 laps total. They extended the course by about another 5 miles and pulled it in so they wouldn't have so much rough water and break up the boats.
Offshore C was taken by Nemscarf. First Scarab was second, Zero Gravity third. Those are the top 3 in the World Championship for Offshore C. As we said, Offshore B was La Grande Argentina Jr., Obsession, and Magic Potion, the top 3, as we look at heavy metal.
And as we say again, that the Superboats are going a total of 6 laps. The other boats did not have to go that far, most of them running about 3. They extended the course out. They pulled it in a little bit closer so they could minimize the rough water so they didn't break up boats like they did in round number 1. Riveted, doing a great job out there. You see the driver and the throttleman separated by the hull, that wing that goes across between the 2 hulls. They also have the partial canopies where it's open on top. It's all a matter of preference. As we saw Alcone Motorsports, when they went out, they lifted up the hatches on the canopy. They were completely enclosed, but these guys prefer to have a little open air out there.
Here's our European entry, Casino Travoli, Hannes Bohink. Comes all the way over from Europe and races with us periodically on SBI as we look at their boat. Kind of a different kind of boat.
It is. Not only the paint job, but the design of the boat is a little bit unique and unusual. And talk about international competitors, Daniel Scioli running the entire circuit out of Argentina.
And of course, his throttle man is from Italy.
That's right. So that's truly international, isn't it? In every way. They've had a good race out there. Again, those diesel engines that they use in that boat have been very consistent. And we've noted that along the entire tour, that they have been very, very consistent.
The only actual diesel-powered boat in the whole fleet.
The boat that is trailing them right now is Nomad. They're trying to move up there a little bit in their class. They are separate classes. They're running for separate trophies.
Nomad is first. He is first in class, and we look in first in Deep V. So you see a couple of first-place boats, and here is the Casino Travoli once again, currently running second in Deep V.
And we remind everyone this time around they're going to be looking for the checkered flag in all of the classes left out on the course. All of the classes that had to run 6 full laps are now looking for the checkered flag as they will complete their racing for the day in Key West, and I'm sure they have enjoyed it. It's been a challenging course for them at certain points. Enough respect? I don't know. Have they had a challenge outside of Alcone Motorsports early on?
Nope. They sat in second place for a while, then they took over and went side by side and then pulled away. And in an attempt to keep up, Alcone Motorsports lost their left engine, stretched something out. They limped home on the right engine only.
Case of the best laid plans going awry in an offshore racing. That is not unusual. Offshore Ocean Racing Corporation of Miami, Florida, owner of the boat Enough Respect, now leader overall of better than 100 boats in the fleet. Jim Robinson of Miami is the owner of the boat. Billy Moore is driving the boat today, and his dad, Bobby Moore, is throttling. And look at that. One of the most beautiful sights. I agree, the boats are pretty, but they don't beat the sunsets. Nothing beats a Key West sunset. We'll be back in a moment. And Key West, come as you Corporation. Speed changes you. And by Restore Automotive Products. Restore, it works. Back on the course, we are into the final lap. This boat, Enough Respect, getting set to get a lot of respect and a checkered flag for first place overall and first place in the Superboat Catamaran. There's the checkered flag. Congratulations to the crew of Enough Respect. A great job done.
113 plus miles an hour average for the 6 laps here on Key West.
You saw Daniel Scioli in the La Grande Argentina making the turn. He's got about half a lap to go to finish this race. Meanwhile, Enough Respect is being guided back into the pit area for the celebration. A tremendous amount of respect for that boat this day. A winner in a fleet of over 100.
I'm going to head down to the docks and get a chance to talk to the winners, Dick.
Nomad has had an excellent race. They deserve the win. US won, and it will stay. They win the Super Limited. Nomad, a world champion, and there you see the wave from the cockpit. And here comes Daniel Scioli in La Grande Argentina. They've had a very, very good race in this boat. Very consistent from start to finish. They'll take first place in the Super V. Daniel Scioli, La Grande Argentina.
All right, now what's this, father and son team again?
Yeah.
You told me this was an important event, but what happened, Mr. Robinson?
Well, he had got nicked up a little bit Wednesday and didn't feel too good about going today. He was afraid that he'd probably be a nuisance in the boat. That was his word, but I don't think he would have. He could have drove the boat today. Wasn't quite as tough as it was Wednesday.
You didn't do too bad, Billy.
No, I don't think I did. I tried to stay focused and drive a good race, good clean race, and I think I did the best I could, and we did all right.
They certainly did all right. A world championship for Enough Respect, the father and son team of Bobby and Billy Moore. Daniel Scioli also gets a world championship in his boat. Jim caught up to him at the award ceremony.
So, again, 2 world championships, one in the smaller class and in the V-bottom in the Superboat class.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I can't believe it because especially with a small boat, every time Bootsy made the boat, we are very optimistic. But I didn't think before that we were able to make it this first time in front of bigger boat and with more power. Really, I'm very happy and I'm very proud because President Menem just sent me a telegram congratulating me because of the boat's name's Argentina. You know, Argentina was very close, pretty watching you see, President Menem just sent me a congratulations.
Very good.
So I'm very happy because I think basically it was a wonderful World Championship edition this year. So congratulations for Carbonell and all the people that make this happen again. Thank you.
Congratulations to Daniel Scioli. There you see his win in the Super V over Admiral Casino and Cigarette Lady. Enough Respect to the winner in the Superboat Cat. Alcone Motorsports second. Nomad won the Super Limited results with Ohio Steel in second. Pro 1 sees Ocean Outboard, followed by Restore Marine Products. Then Patriot took third. That's it from Key West, Florida. For Jim Hendrick, I'm Dick Crippen. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.